I have a love-hate relationship with this week's episode of Aristocrat. I can't be a hater, and that frustrates me. I could, but even I feel like I'd be too much of an irrational hatred. Lord Curran's son came around, and he actually kind of made me proud. People could argue, was it fast-paced or not? I really don't care. In most of last episode, I gave this guy the benefit of the doubt, and then he fumbled the bag. I don't care if Leisha's like, hey, we needed to get the bribe out soon. That's great. If she wasn't there, he would have ruined negotiations. We have to admit that. But him actually asking help from a little girl to learn how to be better, and him actually showing improvements. Ours goes off to war. We have to worry about if little ours is going to make it home. And I can no longer be a hater for Lord Curran's son. Hell has frozen over. I have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full and thought to any of these episodes. You know it's over there exclusively. So, I will be the first to admit sometimes I have an irrational hatred for characters and I just refuse to back down. I'll see development, I'll see reveals, and I'll say, you know what, that's nice, I'm still gonna hate them. Just because sometimes you need to be a hater. I can't do it for this guy. He still frustrates me, but you can't deny he's on the path to correct his bullshittery. They actually answered something that I think was the only thing I needed answered. I thought Lord Curran sent him with us, and I thought the reason was because, well, you know, his son's an idiot. He needs to be with people who can, you know, train him to not be an idiot, especially if he's supposed to take up the family name someday. Turns out, no, Curran didn't even want him to go with ours in the gang. He's like, you're an idiot. You shouldn't have gone. Like, you could have ruined everything. And then he's like, yes, father, I kind of am an idiot, but I want to learn more. So that's all I needed there. But the main thing I want to talk about right now is ours going off to war. So, on one hand, it's a pretty big moment. You know, they go to Lord Raven's grave, and every time they even mention that man's name, I'm like, top 10 dads in anime, let's be honest. Ours was not ready in Season 1. There was that moment, it was the battle before Raven died, or got, you know, wounded and stuff. And ours was like trying his best desperately to be ready for war, and he simply wasn't. And Raven pretty much told him as much, that someday you will be. And unfortunately, Raven passed away a little too early to give ours the proper time to grow into who he needs to be. So he really had to grow up fast and learn a lot on the fly. And to have that conversation where he pretty much asked his dad at the grave, like, you know, do you think I'm ready now? I would like to believe that if there was a ghost watching over ours in that moment, it would have grabbed him on the shoulder and said, yes, son. Is he physically fit for battle? No. But he is surrounded by such talented and strong people. We don't want him on the front lines. If I see ours on a goddamn horse with a sword charging in like Alexander the Great, my boy's gonna die. But if he's a leader in the back, giving orders to the troops, I think so. You know, ours, at the end of the day, has had to grow up in a world a lot faster than someone his age should. And I think to have that kind of build-up with all them talking to the grave and just really, you know, remembering who gave them the freedom they currently have, because ours dad never had to give characters like Reitz a chance. And he did. This was a world that was very anti-progressive for so many of ours' ideas. And he really gave characters like Reitz or Charlotte a chance when no one else would. And the fact that they still hold on to that, you don't really see that in anime, especially isekai, where they continuously think of those who have fallen, and especially a father figure who didn't have a lot of screen time, but every minute of screen time he had in Season 1 absolutely delivered. It's just a very sweet moment, and to see how, you know, despite not having Raven with us, Curran as a leader is just, there's a reason people cheer and want to follow him into battle. Now granted, if this was a situation where there was an army of 100,000 at their gates, it wouldn't be all hip hip hoorays. It'd be a lot of fear knowing that you're probably not making it home to your family. This is a lot different of a battle, but it's still a battle nonetheless where a lot of those soldiers won't make it back home. And the fact that they're so confident to follow a man like him into battle, it's just great. It's brilliant to witness. And to touch upon basically the full plan in terms of what happened. So, what ends up happening is Lord Curran's son outbursts. Obviously, it makes it so that we have to pay our full amount, but also he wanted a bribe, something that would give a little extra. That's where the dress and the jewelry came in, which of course she had specifically made for when a moment like this happened. If we take a step back, and we didn't have that bribe ready, we would have been screwed. So his outburst was still the wrong thing. It was right for her, but if put yourself into his shoes, knowing the full context. Had she not prepared, it would have blew negotiations. So the fact that, you could have paid, say 1,000 now, but eventually he's going to try to bribe us down the future. So it's better for some dumbass like him to do an outburst, because then we can get it all out in the open right then and there. It does make sense. The thing is his grumpiness, and this is what kind of frustrated me, because when he was having his little temper tantrum, when, I forget his name, I'm drawing a blank, but the dude who pretty much has been with him since he was a child, pretty much saying like, hey, I understand you're such an honest and prideful person, because he's the type of character who just wants to be honest, and he grew up in an environment where he was noble, and people would just listen and do what he said. Like, at the end of the day, he's not this, like, toxic noble who's just, like, my way or the highway. It's like, he values honesty to a point that's honestly unrealistic. So a character like ours, or Alicia, seems so dishonest, and it's like it's trampling on the country you're supposed to represent. And I love the idea that he does end up realizing and getting some advice, and then using the manipulation with the different dinner parties over the course of a week to have a negotiation go through within basically 3 words spoken. At the end of the day, he was frustrated. He was a bit of a brat. I don't think anyone will deny that. But I actually prefer having, because this is a bit of a change of a pace. Most of the time, it's like, I was born, I'm better than everyone because of my status. He was born in a way that he's never had to be dishonest, and because seeing any form of dishonesty, whether lying and manipulation, it feels like it's wrong. He's just too pure for his own good, and a character like ours, it feels like he's trampling on what came before. But that handshake says it all. He has opened his eyes, and you definitely can make the argument, was it fast-paced and stuff, and maybe you could say yes it was, but I would much rather get through that and then jump into ours going to war, because I was just ready to be frustrated this whole damn episode with this little bastard, and I'm frustrated in a different way because I can't hate him anymore. So someone in the comments can hate him for me, can be the hater that I can no longer be. But it was such a good resolution that I'm like, I've been waiting all week to talk shit about this guy again, and you took that from me. And now you're sending ours off to war. If he comes back with one arm, I swear I'm gonna lose it. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode. Did you forgive the little bastard, or are you going to remain to be a hater? Let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Emma K-Pop, Sandra Nuns, Mobita, Feather, The Lyrical G, Andrew Stevens, and we also have Himi Meow Toga. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you'll have a good one.